Welcome to TWitWoW, the best wrestling podcast made for wrestling fans, by wrestling fans, on the web today. I'm John. That's my cohort and commentary, Ashton. And this is our NXT review. And I got to tell you guys that I feel like Ashton and I will be on a similar energy because we were talking a little bit about how we felt about the show. Nothing really specific for the most part, save for one thing that stunned both of us. You know what's funny is like this was a productive episode. It's not that it was filler or anything, but I just felt like it had a really chill air about it. Even though it was doing stuff, you know, Dusty Classic, men's progressed, women's got started, we got the freaking fight pit. I don't know. I felt really tranquilo watching this tonight. And, that's a great feeling. And we already know some cool stuff for next week. We're going to see more MSK next week, which I am fucking stoked about. We're going to have fucking Finn and Kyle facing Oni and Danny. So we'll have to see how that goes. But as far as tonight goes, this is a really solid NXT. I mean, we know we like to break out the 1 to 10 scale. I think I'd give this episode a solid 7.5, if not an 8. I'm feeling really good about this tonight. How about you, brother?
I'm going to give it an 8.
Yeah.
You used the words chill and tranquilo to describe the show. I would call it cozy. It felt cozy to me.
Yes. See, I figured you and I'd be on a similar wavelength because, I would co-sign on to that term. Yeah. I don't know. Weird.
There are two, actually, are there even two? No, really, there's one thing that happened tonight, like one segment, I should say, that happened tonight that pissed me off beyond just the confines of, I don't like this from a wrestling context. And we'll talk about that in our first segment. But other than that one thing, and the beautiful thing about that one thing is that it was a short segment, so it didn't like occupy a vast majority or even a large amount of time show. Other than that, though, I didn't have any complaints about this show. I thought it was a really, really good show overall. And I felt like there were no bad matches. And I feel like one of the highlights of this show really was some of the promos that we got. So I'm excited to get into this with you. And I'm curious what you have to say in our first segment here.
Our first segment, Heat of the Night. I think I'm just going to forego it this week. There was something that I didn't like, and I'll just air that just so anybody's curious. I didn't like that Rust lost to Reed, but here's the thing about that. That's only because I'm a much bigger Tyler Rust fan than I am a Bronson Reed fan, and the only reason I'm foregoing it this week is because I do think they're telling some kind of a story with Rust and Bivens. Maybe Rust will leave Bivens, maybe Bivens will turn on Rust, but it's very clear these guys aren't on the same page. I was really hoping that we'd just be simple and it would just be a manager-client thing, but you know what? That story's been done before. Maybe they want to do something a bit different, so I'm keeping an open mind to it. I just think, and I'll get out in front of this too, I think there's going to come a time where I go from apathetic about Bronson Reed to actively hating Bronson Reed, and the simple reason for that is you can very easily tell he's going to be pushed, and as a consequence of him being pushed, he's going to go through guys that I would prioritize over him or that I just straight up like more than him, which I think is going to really affect my perception of him. That's not that's really not even his fault. You know, they're just booking him. They're just choosing to give him a push. But, yeah, I'm still not into the Bronson Reed push. I don't get it. That's me. So I'm more curious, though, seeing as how more or less
I will get into my heat of the night, but I'm curious. I wanted to just kind of gauge something from you.
Sure.
Where would you put Bronson Reed as far as, like, how much you like him and how far you think he should be pushed on a scale of 1 to 10?
I mean, if I'm honest and we think about wrestling being like, I mean, obviously it's suspension of disbelief, but you also, you look at some people and you're like, yeah, they should be pushed. I mean, maybe I'd give Bronson a run with the NA title, but I wouldn't even want it to be that long. Like, the dude just does nothing for me. Like, on a scale of 1 to 10, it's not a visceral hatred because I think he is safe in there. I would trust him with guys. So maybe, like, I don't know, a 2, a 3.
Wow.
Because, like, the stuff he does is, like, solid, right? But I'm bored by it. I think he's a charisma vacuum. I don't think he could talk for shit. I mean, if you really want, you asked my honest opinion, right? That's my honest opinion. I don't think the dude could talk for a fucking lick at all. I have never been more bored by a wrestler in a long time than Bronson Reed. And I think it's worse because, again...
How would you rate him compared to Dane?
I'd say, honestly, they're about the same. Yeah, because, like, I hate Killian Dane, too. But he's got a redeeming quality with Drake Maverick, who I'm also kind of ambivalent about. But, like, here's the thing about Drake. Dude can cut a really good promo if he needs to. Like, the dude can talk, in my opinion. Dane's just annoying to me, and he's just like, oh, I'm angry. And really, he's more... I will say, maybe I like Reed more than Dane, only because I think Dane's more of a caricature than Reed, in a way. But, again, like... Reed just utterly bores me. That's what it comes down to. I mean, I really can't, like... I know people probably want more substantive analysis. Well, like, why?
No, dude, I really appreciate you getting more into the bushes here, though, because I'm just trying to kind of get... Because I feel like I enjoy Bronson Reed a lot more than you, and I'm trying to kind of put a number to that, and I'm realizing that speculation of mine was correct, because I would put Reed at around a 6 out of 10.
Yeah, oh my god, yeah, dude. Yeah, like...
And I would put Dane at like a 4 out of 10.
And again, like, I want to be fair. Like, do I trust the dude in the ring? Yeah, he seems safe as hell. The stuff
well, and maybe that's why I like him more than you, because I remember the matches that he was having in PWG, and I also, like, just compared to Dane, I remember the matches that Dane, when he was Big Damo, was having in Progress. And I feel like Killian Dane or Big Damo never had a match as good as a couple of the matches that we saw Bronson Reed, a.k.a. Jonah Rock, have in PWG.
And see, I gotta be honest, bro. I'm so glad you mentioned PWG, because I feel like when we watch those PWG shows, which now that's making me miss PWG in a way. Yeah. I was never blown away by Jonah Rock either. Like when he was...
I was never blown away by him either. I'm with you there. I think I'm retaining onto the, like, oh, he can actually go. He's just not amazing kind of feelings that I got from him in PWG. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, bro, like, I'm just at a point where, again, I want to be fair.
Right.
And, like, compared to some people that work...
Yeah, because that was like peak Goliath era PWG, because that was when you had Dijak and Keith Lee and Cobb and Walter and Reed, or really Jonah Rock, I should say, all in PWG wrestling at the same time. And Reed, or Rock, Reed, whatever you want to call him, was very clearly like the bottom of that group. Like, really the bottom tier of that group. But it was still a really talented group to begin with. So, like, you're saying, like, oh, out of these 5 great things, the 5th one is the worst one, but that's still a pretty good thing, right?
Yeah, and, like, I'll give... I don't even know if I should give Bronson specifically credit for this, because we want to focus on him.
Right.
But maybe it's just me giving more credit to the NXT system. I do think he's produced very well. We've been talking about that a bit on the podcast lately, like acts that are presented very well. I would put Bronson under that umbrella, personally, because I do like the theme. The Godzilla thing that he's kind of wearing around his neck, that was cool.
I was going to say, like, I feel like he's just presented well enough. Like, I don't think that they're going out of the way to be like, this dude needs that amazing over-the-top presentation. We need to get him over. I just think that they've kind of just, like, gotten it right with him. Like, I don't necessarily think that they're giving him too much from a presentation standpoint. I think that they just got it right with him. You know, like, it's just right. It's that Goldilocks presentation for him.
Yeah.
They're not giving him that, like, over-the-top main eventer, gotta win the WWE title soon kind of main event presentation. But they're also not presenting him like a jobber or a geek either. I think they nailed it with that. But,
well, that is the funny thing, right?
I also really liked, like... First of all, I agree with you that it's a little bit annoying that you have Tyler Rust lose this early into his quote-unquote push, but I also really like the way it was presented, just in the sense that once he told Bivens, I got a match, it's with Reed, Bivens looked disappointed, and he was like, that's not what the plan was. And then after the match with Reed, he was encouraging him. He was like, it's all right, it's just a roadblock, it's not a big deal. Like, I really love the way that they're using Malcolm Bivens to really go out of the way to be like, look, nobody should expect Tyler Rust to beat Bronson Reed right now, but maybe he will at some point.
Yeah, and again, that's why, like, if you remember at the very start of the segment, I even said that I was going to forego it, because I can admit, I can cop to that a lot of my problems with Bronson aren't even really Bronson per se, but more just what gives me enjoyment in wrestling, and Bronson just doesn't do that. For people that are genuine fans of Bronson Reed, you should be enjoying this time right now, because, and I'll tell you why. I do believe he's going to be pushed, but here's the thing. You said something important. This is a guy that has the mold of the monster wrestler, but they're doing a slow burn, and I feel like that's rare. I feel like mostly when you get a guy that looks like Bronson Reed, you'd expect them to do it in like 3 to 4 months. He'd be competing with like a top title. He's been fucking grinding for that. So if you're a fan of Bronson Reed, all power to you. I just think, again, I forego this because it was more a personal thing for me, but just to put a bow on it, because obviously some people want us to talk about other stuff. I do appreciate in this segment, at least when it comes to Rust and Bivens, to your point, that there is a deeper narrative going on here, maybe, because I think Bivens does want to encourage Rust, but they got to get on the same page, and I'm personally hoping they do, because I like both guys. I don't want them to separate this early.
Yeah.
And then I'm hoping when they get on the same page, dude, that Rust is like in 6 months' time, at least in the NA title picture, if not the champion. So I want to pass the ball because I'm really curious what really ticked you off, even though it was brief by your words tonight. So what happened?
Dude, I'm just going to come out and say it. I think I'm ready to be done talking about Karrion Kross on this podcast.
Did something happen?
I just mean the fact that they're really going to throw a dude out there. And I don't know how in the bushes and the weeds you are with Karrion Kross, but the dude has liked some very conservative white supremacist type shit on Twitter.
Oh, dear God.
He goes out there, his fucking entrance takes longer than his matches last. We already know that he's never going to have a great long match, because if you can't do it with Keith Lee, good luck doing it with fucking anybody. Maybe AJ Styles will be able to get one out of him. They'll be buddies. And he goes in there against a guy that I think you and I were both excited about, Ashante Adonis.
Yes.
Obliterates him in 45 seconds. And then attacks his tag partner in the Dusty Classic. And now those guys are no longer going to be in the Dusty Classic because Adonis is kayfabe injured.
Right. Yes. That I was aware of. I'm just gonna keep it succinct, being aware of this, because I knew he was more on the conservative side. But the moment you say white spread, because we try and be very tolerant on this show, in our chat and everything else. But the moment you cross that territory, 2 words to end it: fuck him. So if you don't want to talk about him anymore, we're not talking about him anymore. Which means
it's also just the presentation of a guy who is the far right type going out there obliterating a young black dude, and then basically costing him an opportunity to participate in an important tournament. Like, it's, from an optics standpoint, it is beyond fucked up, especially 2 days removed from MLK Day.
Yeah, you know what? I was actually following Karrion on Twitter because there was a time I really was in love with the character. I'm unfollowing and I'm blocking. I do not tolerate white supremacy, or
I mean, dude,
you
can look in his liked tweets from like last year around this time. Like, he's a COVID denier. Like, it's everything. It's fucking everything.
So the dude's just garbage all the way down.
Yeah.
That's great. Wrestling, once again, really pushing a garbage person. Who'd have thunk? That's just shocking to me.
I mean, at the very least, I guess we don't have any evidence that he's like a fucking child predator, so he's no dream, but he's still shit.
Yeah. Well, our policy now, we don't waste time on shit fucking people, so fuck him. This is the last time we're talking about Karrion Kross.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Abel, pretty fucking much. Do you have anything else you want to talk about?
Heat of the night wise, this was the one and only thing on the show that got me a little heated up. I was pissed about this. Because, I like Adonis. And dude, you might have even heard me last week when the bracket was revealed and I saw that Ashante Adonis and Desmond, I think Desmond Troy were the names, were revealed as being a tag team in the Dusty Classic. I popped. I was like, oh shit, that's cool. I'm excited about this. And now they're not. So I was pissed about that. The optics of the whole thing are just fucking garbage to me. Like, this really pissed me off.
Yeah, dude, I really appreciate you using this platform to bring this to my attention and anybody's attention that may not know this, because there's so much that happens in a media ecosystem, you can't keep track of everything. So, yeah, fuck them. We're done with them. With that said, let us get into our NXT review, and we open up. First, we get a recap of, last week and the start of the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic, at least the men's, because, again, women started tonight. And then we get to another matchup Gargano and Theory versus Leon Ruff and Kushida. And
you know what? A bit of a backstep here. Speaking of Dusty Classic, fuck you, NXT, for having Priscilla Kelly's NXT debut as Gigi Dolan be on 205 Live. What the fuck? Why?
You know what? I should have seen it coming. Like, they really don't know what they have in her, do they?
They have dude. They signed her so she wouldn't sign with AEW. Let's be real. Come on.
Yeah. Well, that's just it. And see, this is. I'm sorry. Can I go on just a quick side tangent here?
Please do.
Like, this is the problem with competition at the same time as the benefit, because everybody's like, "Oh, competition's great because it'll up the ratings," and that should be true. Like, not even a drag. That should be true. The reality is, when you're as big as WWE and you're so fucking fragile and insecure, the reality is that what competition looks like is, oh, let's sign all these people and either bench them or put them on in obscurity. But hey, at least the other guy won't have them. I fucking hate it, dude. And then, let me be clear, it's not like I'm even speaking on behalf of the other guy, because fuck AEW. I mean, I have been explicit about that on here. But it just sucks, because Priscilla Kelly, and I know I'm going to have to adjust her new name, but I'll start doing that when they start promoting her on actual fucking NXT.
Gigi Dolan.
Gigi Dolan is so talented, and I think really understands what pro wrestling is about. And you might as well bench her, because I love Foster to death, and anybody that's a 205 Live fan, no judgment, no hate. But, to me, that's getting benched, because I never watched the freaking show. So that's great. That's great. But yeah, switching gears back to Gargano and Theory versus Ruff and Kushida. Really fun opener, man. I gotta be honest. I know I'm kind of jumping the gun here. I'm kind of shocked that Gargano and Theory lost the first round here for them, for the way. But Gargano is North American champion, and they're clearly prioritizing that, which is fair. I get that. Really inspired matchup. I really hate to give Austin Theory credit, but he had a great spot here where he caught Ruff in like an Argentine backbreaker position and did a spin-out powerbomb. So that was pretty cool. And then even Kushida, who, again, I actively hate how OP he is, he did a fucking hammerlock bridging suplex pin thing.
Dude, I actually popped for that. The hammerlock fisherman suplex pin.
Yeah, like, technically speaking, that was clean as shit, bruh. Yeah. So, like, I don't blame you for popping for it. I popped for it.
I saw it, and I was like, holy shit, is that it? That's the end, isn't it? And yeah, it was a fucking 3 count. I was like, wow. You know what? If there, we have heat of the night. The shine of the night for me is some of the upsets that we got in the Dusty Classic matches tonight. I was very happy and impressed with both. All 3. I feel like Ruff and Kushida beating Gargano in Theory was an upset, and I think that both other Dusty Classic matches, one men and one women's, that we got tonight, both had upset finishes, and I was very happy about all 3 of them.
Yeah, absolutely. And we will get to that. Oh God, I miss Cameron Grimes. But yeah, Gargano and Theory are out already, and Kushida now has pinned Gargano. So
is Grimes in the Dusty Classic or no?
No, dude, he's still dealing with an injury. I think he's still got a few more weeks.
I forgot about that injury.
Yeah, because initially when we talked about it a few weeks ago, like, they said he'd be out 6 weeks. So I think we've got 3 weeks left, maybe.
Gotcha.
Maybe.
I see.
But God.
So basically, don't expect him until like at least mid-February. Yeah.
Hey, that's my birthday month though, so that'll be a gift from NXT to me. It's what I deserve, honestly. I'm taking it. So yeah. Ruff and Kushida win. You know what? Good for Leon Ruff, too. Because I really thought this dude would just be jobbing for the rest of his NXT tenure after he got his little moment in the sun. It's lasting a little bit longer.
This is probably the only match that team is going to win in the Dusty Classic, though, because you know who they face next week?
Don't they face... Oh, Grizzled Young Vets, right?
Yup.
Oh, my God. Sin! No, I'm not going to do it. But yeah, I mean, you get the
idea. Dude!
There you go.
You won't do it, I will.
There you go. Fun opener here. Ruff and Kushida win. Again, Kushida pinning Gargano. You know they're heading towards a North American Championship match. Probably for the February 14th TakeOver, if I had to guess, because that's only a few weeks away. Which I don't think still has a name. I'm still hoping for St. Valentine's Day TakeOver, since Massacre might be a bit much in this day and age. Next up, we got a Pete Dunne video package pretty much talking about Finn and how, their careers have had similar trajectories and how, Dunne hates being compared to Finn because, before it's all over, Balor's going to be participating in his legacy. He's just going to be a footnote in his legacy, what Pete Dunne does. And Pete Dunne makes clear he wants to be NXT champion. And so, they're furthering that feud. So, yeah, with that said, we're gonna skip this, given what we established in Heat of the Night. That was a video package for a piece of trash. Then we got Malcolm Bivens again, as you said, the whole thing with him like, Tyler Rust. He's not just a newcomer; he's a diamond in the rust. God, I love that. I still want that on a shirt.
Dude, Malcolm Bivens is such a good fucking manager. Oh my god.
Dude, I know. We stand him so hard. And then Tyler
He's
Rust
just so supportive of his client.
I know, right?
And it's like a healthy supportive too, not like you're gonna win the WWE title next week kind of support, like that unhealthy, like toxic optimism kind of thing.
Exactly. Because he straight up tells Russ, and I love it because like he's speaking all loud and confident to Mackenzie, and then when Russ is just like, "Oh yeah, I got the match with Bronson Reed," just leans in, and he's like, "That's not the way I would have gone."
Yeah,
but it's done now. And it's like, damn.
This wasn't the plan. What are you doing?
Well, yeah, because Bivens is like, listen. I'm trying to get you to be a meal ticket, not to get service from Meals on Wheels. You hear what I'm saying? So we got a match. Come on, let's go. But yeah, I love the dynamic. I really hope these two don't break up because they just can't get on the same page. Like I have a fear of that, right? But I really hope where it's going is like, oh, now they're working together and look at how much progress they're making because yes. Okay, so skipping this because this was Adonis and we talked about, not only are we just skipping the piece of trash, but we already talked about it in the first segment. Anyway, MSK package. Really liking these guys, dude. They might actually rank pretty well in the next Fave 5 video that we do for May on the NXT side. You know what I love about some of the acts, and I wouldn't even just say in WWE, I would just say some of the acts in wrestling. It really does have that, like, I don't know, 90s or 80s feel, but in a good way. Like, I've said that about, the Great O'Khan. The Great O'Khan. And, he's got that 80s feel. MSK, I don't know. I feel like watching MSK is probably how some fans felt watching the really young Hardy Boys when they were on the come-up in WWF. I don't know. It just got that vibe to me. It's really cool. I'm really excited for these guys. After that, we get Mercedes and Tony cutting a promo. Pretty much saying, like, Casey and Kaden, we don't care that you've been friends. We're not friends. Toughest and baddest women here. We're going to beat you tonight, and we don't need to be friends to win the whole Women's Dusty Classic. So they seem like we don't need to be on the same page. We're Tony Storm and Mercedes Martinez. That's enough for us. And now, mercifully, I'm going to hand it over to you. I am sorry. I always hate when I feel like I talk too much. We have got LHP versus Imperium. I want you to go on this, dude, because I really enjoyed this match tonight, and I'm thinking you did too. So,
I did enjoy the result of the match. I won't go out of my way to be overly enthusiastic about the match itself. I enjoyed the other Dusty Classic matches on this show more than this one.
I will say this. I can acknowledge that the match had a few hiccups because you could tell that some spots were like, a bit rough. This NXT revival for LHP has been so good for Metalik in particular. For that dude to have ample TV time to show how good he is, and at the risk of sounding like an asshole, and I fully accept that, I love that this is just a go out there and do your damn thing, LHP. And yeah, they'll cut promos about the culture and stuff, but I'll take that over like the pinata or whatever else they used to do when they were on Raw, which I felt like was like too much and just not getting over. I like that they let their ability speak for themselves and that they defend the culture on the mic when they have to, particularly against LDF, which we'll get to. But yeah, Metalik specifically, this NXT return has been wonderful for him. Oh my God, dude. Those moonsaults he hit tonight took my breath away. Like the first one he got on Eichner and then the other one on the outside, the fucking height. And they're clean as shit, dude. Damn. So, I mean, what about, you said you were happy that LHP won. I'm guessing you're on the same page as me. You're just really happy for Metalik. Like, this dude just getting the shine, right?
Yeah. Metalik was it felt almost like he was kind of unlocked a little bit in NXT between his match with Santos and his performance tonight and stuff. It feels like he's being held back less here than he was in 205, which is weird because 205 is like supposed to be the high flying show, right? But then the finish, I mean, Dorado is kind of getting his shit in too because he ended up pinning Bartel with the shooting star press. When was the last time we even saw Dorado hit one of these?
Dude, like, I used to watch this dude in Force 1. And even going back then, I'm like, is that the last time I personally saw him do it? Because, yeah, it's been a hot minute, man. But great win for LHP. They have never looked better since coming back to this brand. So, yeah, that's good for them, man. Good for them.
Yeah.
All right. After this, guys, we get the Fight Pit weigh-in. Just a little bit of hype up. I think, if I remember correctly, Thatcher came in at 225. Ciampa came in at 201. Thatcher shoved Ciampa, when Ciampa was going for the handshake. So, again, that's just to hype it up. We get the start of the Women's Dusty Classic, which we get a promo from Beth Phoenix.
Yeah.
Big ceremony promo from Beth Phoenix, talking about NXT being once again at the forefront of making history. And talking about all the women of NXT. I'll admit I was petty. I booed when Alexa Bliss's name came up. Everybody else, though, got cheers from me for the most part. Yeah, we love you. We love you, Becky. I've really been missing Becky lately, for the record. So, yeah. Beth says Dusty Rhodes Fighting Classic will commence. Kane and Casey versus Martinez and Storm. Brother, what did you think about this match?
Yeah, this was, I think, kind of the match of the night, maybe. Yeah, I think this was my match of the night, honestly. Just great beginning to the end. Casey Catanzaro showed the fuck out here because, like, obviously we'll talk about the ridiculous finisher towards the end of this match. The finisher itself happened at the end of the match. It caused the end of the match, but she was doing all kinds of shit too. There was one moment where she did like a slingshot corkscrew crossbody to Mercedes. That looked dope as hell. That actually reminded me of Mizuki's whirling candy finisher. Like, I feel like Casey is really stepping up here.
Oh, dude, that finish blew my fucking mind. Like, I saw that, and I'm telling you, when the YouTube video gets put up of that, I am replaying the shit out of it just so that I can deconstruct, like, every moment of it. You know how, I'll give you a perfect parallel of what I'm going to do with that clip. You know how, when we would react, and I mean really react, to LU trailers, like, we do the initial fast reaction, and then we break it down.
Frame by frame, yep.
Frame by frame. I'm going to go frame by frame with this shit, brother. Frame by fucking frame with this shit. This was wild.
You're talking about the finisher?
Yeah, corkscrew 450 moonsault senton, as you called it.
Yep.
Yeah. That was unfucking believable.
If you think about a 450 splash where they stand up, they do a full front flip, and then they land flat on the opponent, like chest to chest. This is the exact same thing as that, only backwards, and also she spins sideways in midair as well.
Like, just, what? I have questions. Also, to pat myself on the back, I did low-key call Io getting involved, because I think I even said last week on the podcast, like, I could see, because Casey and Caden are that unlikely team, getting just a little bit of help from Io. So her coming in and taking Mercedes off the apron and then throwing her over the announce table. And then here's the thing, too, and I'm only mentioning this now, Ashton, because I don't want to forget, and this is a screen-and-screen thing with, I want to say, Rust versus Reed later on. Tony got into an altercation with Io. I'm thinking we might get a triple threat for the Women's Championship here, Io versus Tony versus Mercedes.
Yes. I don't know. Honestly, just based on the fact that Mercedes wasn't involved in this at all, and Io, it feels like Io got like a measure of revenge on her already. I almost have to wonder if they'll just go straight to Tony Io first, have Io retain, and then have Mercedes come back and keep going after Io afterwards.
Well, I honestly, in a way, would prefer that, because I do want Mercedes to get her one-on-one match with Io, because I think one-on-one those two can make magic together. And I'm not saying adding Tony to a match subtracts, because I don't hate Toni Storm by any means. Again, a lot like a Bronson Reed. I would say she's solid in the ring. And I would even say to a degree I enjoy her more than Reed. But Mercedes is a fucking beast. Like, I want to see her and Io one-on-one. So, no surprise those two got knocked off so early. They're obviously gunning for the Women's Championship. Really happy for Casey and Caden. I think I also said on last week's NXT review that I was picking them to win the whole thing because, you know, they're making a big deal about how it's the first one ever, and this could really be what those two need to jumpstart their NXT careers. So I'm pulling for them. Yeah, Javaris, I know women's wrestling be fucking showing out right now.
Yeah.
Because Saya with the fucking Phoenix Splash, and then Casey does that. Like, oh yeah, I can do this with my anatomy. What about you? And I'm just like, I can bang out maybe 30 push-ups, maybe. So like, you're a fucking beast, Casey. You love to see it.
Yeah. So after this, we got the Swerve thing, right, where he was like chatting with Bronson Reed, and then we go to a commercial and we find out that he was telling Reed to never get in his business again.
Actually, dude, because I have that pretty soon, like before the actual match itself of Russ versus Reed, but I have next as a Bauer and Regal segment.
Oh, yeah. That was one of the things that I forgot to put in my notes. Some of the smaller things that are only like 30-second segments, I watch and then forget about them later. I do remember that happening, though.
Yeah, Regal more or less says, like, again, you're going to face Oni and Danny, you got to find a partner. And I already jumped the gun in the intro, like, talking, and I mean the actual intro before I gave it to Ashton, where next week we know it's Bauer and O'Reilly versus Oni and Danny, and Bauer's just like, oh, I don't have any friends, you know, that was the old me, you know, I don't do that anymore, blah, blah, blah. Then after that, we get a Casey Caden quick little promo, because I believe it was Mackenzie tried to talk about Adonis and Taylor, or Troy, Desmond Troy, being injured and, you know, out of the 205 Live tournament round. And Casey and Kane interrupt, and they're like, oh, you know, we won, we did it, and they're so excited. And, you know, Casey just says, like, we're winning the whole thing.
I loved this, honestly. The energy of this and how confident Casey feels. Because I remember, I don't know if it was last week or 2 weeks ago, though, where Caden was, like, trying to get Casey to say, we're going to win the whole thing. And she was, like, all meek and, like, all, like, you know, like, quiet and like mousy and stuff, and here she comes out like, no, we're doing it, we got this, we're winning the whole thing, baby. I was really happy for Casey to kind of find her confidence here, because she got the winning pin with that crazy ass finisher.
Dude, I really, like I said, I really hope they win this, man, because you could tell like that it's really starting to come together for them. And then I really do hope that they get a women's tag title shot. I'm still going to be rooting for
Shotzi and Ember, but if they can't win, I'll definitely root for these two.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm telling you, have them win it, and then have them in that fairy tale, like, women's tag title matchup against fucking Charlotte and Asuka, and have them look great. I mean, I know that's impossible for Charlotte because she only cares about herself, but I know Asuka will do the business. Yeah. You know, it'll be good shit. You know, so I'm.
How much better would that match be if Charlotte and Asuka drop the titles to the Riot Squad?
Oh, dude, so good. Why do you do that, huh? You know. Like, we already knew it, and then you just had to say it, though.
Liv and Ruby versus Ember and Shotzi.
Oh, my God. Okay, well, that happened. Yeah, okay, so what came after this was, yes, we got Swerve, you know, jaw-jacking with Reed. Then we got Russ versus Reed.
Yes, which again, I love that. Even though, you know, Russ is like a newer guy, he didn't get squashed by Reed. He gave him a fight. He put him, you know, gave him a run for his money. Did a really cool like rope assisted Samoan drop. Speaking of cool moves, Reed did an inverted follow-away slam.
Yeah. It was pretty wild. And we did hear the backstage comments from Swerve, don't ever get involved in my business again. I already addressed everything wrong with this in a past episode, so I'm not going to go over that here. But yeah, great back and forth. I love the line that Bivens has. It's like, outsmart him, and then commentary says like, oh, yeah, that wasn't very specific. But then what does Rust follow up with? An over-the-shoulder arm breaker using the top rope. Don't fucking tell Bivens how to do his job ever again. Thank you. So, yeah, I would even say to a degree, man, he might have even done a bit better than what Swerve did in his first matchup with Reed, because he actually was able to damage a limb and really get Reed to favor it. So, great job here by Tyler Rust. God damn it, I'm still used to that old name. Tyler Rust. And I really do hope we find him in the NA title picture sooner.
I gotta say, I actually prefer the new name. Because Rust Taylor, I always felt like I was saying Russ Taylor, and I prefer the double T not existing there, the thing. So I like Tyler Rust. I like that as a name better than Rust Taylor because of the whole Rust Taylor thing. You know what I mean?
Diamond in the Rust.
And I love that. That's fucking amazing. Malcolm's the man for coming up with that shit.
Dude, oh my god, pay him, bitches. But yeah, Reed gets the win. I'll ask you, man. You asked me a few questions about Bronson Reed. I got one for you. So, Johnny's the North American champion right now, so we do have a heel. How soon before Bronson Reed challenges for that title, you think?
I'm surprised he hasn't already.
Yeah, I agree, actually. I would have thought we would have gone through that by now.
I thought he would have challenged him by now, and the match would be set for Valentine's Day takeover.
Yeah, we'll have to see. Because I really feel like Kushida obviously is primed for that spot at present. But yeah, I just, again, even if Reed wins it, I'm not even necessarily opposed. Although, like I said, Johnny has turned a corner with me again. So we'll just have to see how that goes. But Reed continues that winning streak, and they're really building him up for 2021. So we'll see. All right, after that, we get Balor being interviewed again about, having to find a partner and this and that. And then the UE segment where he ultimately gets Kyle recruited, and so, I don't know, tentative alliance between Balor and Undisputed Era. After that, though, okay, we get Legado del Fantasma, led by the Cruiserweight Champion, Santos Escobar. Oh, my God. Do you know what happened here tonight, Ash? I'll tell you.
He said his own name. That's what happened.
Yes. And you know what? That excitability, plebs would say the excitability that you just demonstrated just now was extra. I think it was the perfect response. Because this fucking man who has the audacity to come out with all that drip and pull it off, I might add, runs down the champions or former champions. Bro. And I'm telling you, I'm telling you, I know Javaris can have my back on this. Like, he was running down the champions, the tag team champions. Dude, he took a pot shot at Karrion Kross that now that I know the shit that he's getting up to, I'm like, fucking great. He sniped his ass.
Yes.
And I was sitting there nodding along like it was a fucking song because his voice is fucking lyrical as shit. And I'm just like, facts. The champion.
Call this man a fucking 1990s Office movie because he's got a fucking fax machine.
Oh my! Not only are you not going to your room, you're getting a raise, sir. That was fantastic. But no, dude, like bringing it down just a tad. I did genuinely love this promo, dude. I love how important he makes the Cruiserweight title feel, dude. But because the biggest compliment I could give Santos, because keep in mind, dude, I came into wrestling as a fan when WWE had a Cruiserweight division before they had to kill it and then revive it. He makes the title feel more important than it did even back then. Like, I'd say the most important it ever felt, oddly enough, was when Matt Hardy held it. And then Ray beat him in San Diego in the main event of that one SmackDown. He really makes it feel like shit, I want to cut weight and try for the Cruiserweight title. If I was a wrestler that was above the weight limit. Like, I can't praise this man enough. And I know we have the bits and, like, oh, he's handsome and he's so hot in this end, like he is. Fuck that. Hell yeah, he is. But, like, he's also immensely talented. Just immensely talented. And he speaks, and here's the thing. He's not, like... I don't think he'll always have, like, memorable lines, but it's the delivery for him. He says shit, and I believe it. And I look in his eyes, and I believe it. Like, he believes he's the best thing going, and it's hard to, like, say that he's wrong. Again, I know that they keep alluding to at times, oh, Jordan Devlin's got to be watching. Oh, and I really thought, you want to talk about surprises, dude, because we just talked about that with Bronson Reed. Ever since Jordan Devlin wasn't going to be quote-unquote canceled, I'm surprised they haven't gotten this over with already. Maybe it's because of COVID that they haven't been able to. I don't fucking know. But, like, I don't want him as Cruiserweight champion again.
No.
Like, how can you go from this? And again, keeping it real, not trying to be extra, but how can you go from this, a guy that can talk, a guy that can dress the part, act the part, sure as fuck wrestle the part, to Jordan fucking Devlin? Like, I'm
gonna be real with you, man. This Santos Escobar promo and the preceding, I guess, the next proceeding works segment where we got the interruption from LHP and then fucking Kurt Stallion shows up. This was my segment of the night.
Yes, dude. Yes.
This Santos Escobar promo was the best promo that I have seen anyone cut in NXT probably since Balor's I don't watch this business watches me promo.
Agreed. I think I can agree with you on that 100%.
This is an early candidate for promo of the year for me. I fucking loved this. And again, like you said, it's not necessarily just what he says, it's how he says it. This dude, like people, I feel like the term oozes charisma gets thrown around a little bit too liberally. This motherfucker oozes charisma.
Yes, dude. Yes. Like, again.
His facial emoting is 10 out of 10. Amazing.
Yes. Oh my God, yes.
The way that he was talking, and there was a brief moment as he was going up the steps where he looked at the camera to say a quick line, and then he walked right back. I was like, oh my God, this dude's fucking amazing. Like, that moment alone, you show that moment to Vince, and he's just like, why the fuck is this guy not on the main roster right now? What the hell? Like, that's the shit that Vince looks for, right? Like, that's why Alexa Bliss has had a job and has been pushed so hard for these last 4 years, because of her ability to emote and make amazing facial expressions and stuff. Santos Escobar has that and actual talent too.
Yes. Yes. And like talking about what he's doing. Yeah.
This, you know what? This makes me want to double down. Fuck Dominic Mysterio.
Dude, yes. Like, yeah, just like Escobar tonight, you're spitting nothing but facts, brother. I am with you all the way on this. And again, just to emphasize one more time, because they always say, right, the man makes the championship. The idea that the cruiserweight champion, I'm speaking purely in kayfabe. I know we enjoyed it for other reasons that we established at the top of the show, but in kayfabe, for the cruiserweight champion to verbally snipe a character with the presentation of Karrion Kross, that's like fucking huge. And I'll be honest, dude, I was a bit worried. When Kross name came out of his mouth, because I'm like, oh my God, is Scarlett going to come out? This is going to be a fucking thing now. But like, no.
No, because he can't challenge for the cruiserweight title because he's like 260 for fuck's sakes.
Exactly. And I'm telling you, and Javar's like, I know you're still here, so I don't know, but like, I know you were pushing hard at one time for Balor versus Escobar, and after he went after Balor, I still wanted that fucking matchup.
Yeah.
Like, I actually like Pete Dunne. I like him as a heel right now. But like,
I'm gonna say it right now. I would be rooting for Escobar to win if we got a champion versus champion between him and Balor. I would be rooting for Escobar to become NXT champion because he's that fucking good right now.
Agreed. 150%.
If someone Balor's size and Gargano's size and Ciampa's size can be, and Adam Cole's size can be NXT champion, there's no fucking reason why Santos Escobar can't be NXT champion. And right now, I'm thinking right now, which is why I'm apprehensive. I'm trying to think of if there's any act in NXT that even touches Santos Escobar and LDF right now. And I don't think there is. I think it is like maybe Shotzi and Io, but they're also in a different division. They can't even compete for the same titles. So in the men's division, there's nothing touching LDF and specifically Santos Escobar right now in NXT, period. It's the best thing going among the men.
I am, and I will say, just to kind of piggyback off of that, you can't fucking tell me that the likes of Guerrero, Bryan, to a lesser degree Ray, because I feel like he got pushed the first time around for all the wrong reasons, but all those guys that really challenge the aesthetics of what a world champion can be, that it doesn't have to be a fucking titan from fucking Mount Olympus, they didn't do that work so that guys like fucking Escobar could get shafted in the world title picture. No fucking way. Like, this dude should absolutely be an NXT champion, and if the company had their head on straight, Andrade would be kind of building a path for Escobar right now. That obviously didn't happen, but I still look at Escobar, and I'm like, I can just envision that WWE title over his shoulder, and it just feels right. It just feels so fucking right. So I'm really glad we had an extended discussion about this promo, because I fucking adored it tonight, and LDF is still a cool faction. I would like to see fucking Wild and Mendoza, win the Dusty Classic if I wasn't already rooting for Grizzled Young Vets. Because, I like all three of them. As a unit. I think individually, obviously, Escobar's 1, Mendoza's 2, and Wild's 3. But as a unit, yeah, it works for me. You already mentioned Lucha House Party interrupting. They pretty much get in a brawl with LDF. And then, Kurt Stallion. Pleasant surprise to see him, because I know it was only maybe 2 weeks ago on the podcast we mentioned he did win that 5-way. Are they going to remember that he's never going to enter this and that? I don't even know if they remembered, but they got him back in the title picture regardless, because he evens the odds here. He takes out Escobar. And then we see later that next week, that's actually going to be a Cruiserweight Championship match. Escobar versus Stallion. I'm pretty hyped for that, dude. I think it's going to be fucking
We actually
awesome.
literally, thanks to Alex Foster, which I know he's not here right now, but if he comes back and listens to this, we hope that we appreciate you having us do this. Thanks to his request, we actually watched Kurt Stallion win contendership, so we have a degree of familiarity with him, and I was a fan. I enjoyed his work. I think he's good, so I'm expecting this to be a really good match next week.
Oh, absolutely. I think this is going to be phenomenal. So after that, we get Maverick and Dane interviewed. I don't care. They're pretty much talking about, I will give Maverick credit. He does put over MSK, but he says, they're not going to win because I'm going to win with my best friend. They're still doing this whole forced friendship thing. I didn't like it then. I don't like it now. Dane's like, oh, that was pretty good. Hits Maverick hard, and he's like, thanks. I'm going to need your number. Yeah, you're not getting it, obviously. Then we get the Stallion Escobar confrontation, and then we get the fight pit. So Ashton, this is now the second fight pit. How did you feel about it?
Oh, it was fun. It was good. Not as good as the first fight pit, but it was still good. I would say the first fight pit was 8.5 out of 10. This was more 7.5 out of 10 for me.
That's fair. I feel like at times, and I feel like you actually echoed pretty much the exact sentiment before we went live. I feel like at times Ciampa came way too close to winning this year to the point where I was genuinely worried. I wanted a more dominant performance from Thatcher, but the important thing is to keep perspective. The right guy did win, and with a sick finish, too. I did like the visual of that stretch mouth floor with Ciampa all tied up in the cage. I was like, Yeah. So I like that they keep these fight pits, pretty well
Another
spaced
problem
out.
I think I had, too, was, again, we have this weird dichotomy of, we're supposed to cheer for Ciampa, but he cheated. He used the ref as an elevated platform to hit Willow's bell off of. It's like, dude, you're supposed to be the good guy. Why are you taking shortcuts?
Yeah. Tonally speaking, Ciampa's character is way off.
It is. That's what I'm saying, yeah.
Yeah, it's way off. I almost feel like it would benefit him to, what was I going to say? Take 2 weeks off and then just come back and either really commit to being a heel or really commit to being a face. He needs some kind of time off to me just to kind of wash away what he's done recently and then come back with a greater total focus.
His character's like Cody.
Yeah.
Ew.
Yeah, ew. Yeah, and ew for other reasons too, as we know about Ciampa. God, I hate so many garbage people in wrestling. But, yeah, Thatcher gets the win. See, the question is, though, again, well, actually, I shouldn't even say a question because I feel like I already know the answer because the ending of this matchup, as we're closing out, we get the logo, Thatcher draws closer to Ciampa, and they're just kind of looking at each other, almost like this mutual understanding in a way. Yeah, you took me to war kind of thing. They're really doing a slow burn with these guys becoming a team, but is it a face team? Is it a heel team? Are Grizzled Young Vets going to become the tag champions, and then this will be their first big feud? Is Thatcher Ciampa? Because I think that'd be fucking bonkers in ring wise. I don't know. I don't know what's happening here. I mean, what do you think the next step in the story is? Where does that?
I think you just nailed it on the head. I think that's exactly what's going to happen. I think these guys are going to become a tag team. I think GYV are probably going to win the Dusty Classic. They're probably going to eliminate MSK last. I think that you absolutely nailed it there. I think that's exactly what's going to happen for sure.
All right, then I guess there's nothing more that needs to be said. Let's get into our next segment: high spots and low shots. I'm going to say my low shot is Johnny Gargano. Has had a rich history in the.
When was the last time he got pinned?
Yeah, exactly.
Especially outside of the confines of a title match.
Yeah, that's especially true. Kushida fucking pins him. They talked about Gargano's history in the Dusty Classic, doing so well with Ciampa some years. So, this is first fucking round. And you teamed with the guy that you gave whey protein to, and you still couldn't get the job done. So Kushida's really hot on the tails of that North American Championship. Gargano's my low shot tonight. Who's your low shot?
Let's see. I think my low shot tonight has to be Mercedes Martinez, unfortunately. She didn't need the pin, but she also didn't get hit by a nuts-ass finisher by Casey Catanzaro. But she did get attacked by Io. She wasn't able to help her partner, so she didn't win the match. And then she it feels like she got overlooked because we got the Toni Storm, Io Shirai pull-apart fight that made it feel, at least to me, like Toni is now first in line for that title shot rather than Mercedes, which is what she tried to kind of put herself into that position by attacking you in the first place. But now I'm wondering if they're even going to write Mercedes off TV for a few weeks while the Io-Toni feud closes out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So Mercedes is going to be a low shot.
Yeah, that makes sense. High spot. Let's see. Where do I?
I'm fully prepared to sign on to a high spot tonight.
Oh, well, then I know where I want to go. Casey and Kaden, with emphasis on Casey. I thought you were going to sign in because she had the fucking bonkers finisher tonight.
No. That's a really good high spot, but that's definitely not who I was thinking when I said that.
Wow, you know what? Then I'm actually glad that I picked it because I expected you to, so I was going to go somebody else originally, and then you said that, so yeah, we got our wires crossed there. But I'll commit to it.
Worked out perfectly.
And Kaden, yeah, Casey and Kaden had a great night tonight, and Casey... I mean, there was a time where we thought Casey wouldn't even be able to do this anymore, and we weren't seeing her.
My WTF moment of the year honorable mention last year when she just randomly decided to show up for a battle royal after we all thought she retired.
Exactly. So she goes from that to this.
Yeah.
Holy fuck. Whiplash. It ain't just my favorite movie anymore, folks. God damn. Who's your high spot?
My high spot is Santos Escobar.
Oh, God, yes. You know what? I'm going to stick with Casey and Kaden being my actual high spot, but I'll co-sign with you in terms of making that like an honorary high spot for me on my end and the high spot just for you.
Yeah.
God. Oh, my God.
Yeah, tonight, I've pretty much been a fan of his since the first day that we saw him in Lucha Underground as King Cuerno, but tonight was the first time in NXT that I was like, what the fuck, why is this dude not main eventing right now? Tonight was the first time in NXT that it really clicked for me, like, Jesus Christ, this is the best thing going in NXT right now. So, huge props to him. Amazing promo. Great work between the actual talking, the what he was saying, the delivery, the facial expressions, the body language, the fucking just charisma out the ass, the everything, and then selling the beat. I love, too, that Lucha House Party attacks, they get almost immediately neutralized because there's a 2-on-3 disadvantage for their numbers. And then Kurt Stallion comes out, makes it even, and they actually are able to clear the ring of LDF. That makes me really happy because it gives Kurt Stallion a lot of credibility right off the bat in what I believe is his NXT debut. If not, it's his first time on NXT with actual credibility. So props for that. And then later on in the night, you get Santos accepting the challenge. I'm very excited for that match next week. And I'm actually going to go as far as to say that's the thing that I'm looking most forward to on next week's show. Because the two Dusty Classic men's matches that we know we're getting, we have got Dane and Maverick versus, I believe, MSK. And then I know the other one is Grizzled Young Vets, like we mentioned earlier, versus Ruff and Kushida. So I'm not as excited about either one of those matches as I am for our boy Escobar versus Stallion. So very excited for that. Escobar is definitely my high spot for the week, and I'm ready to close the show out now.
All right, guys. With that said, this has been NXT. This has been TWitWoW, the best wrestling podcast made for wrestling fans, by wrestling fans, on the web today. I'm John. That's my commentary, Ashton. Guys, be sure to like the video as you file out. The more likes you leave, the more likely we are to be the top search result for NXT reviews on YouTube. And when you're the best at what you do, the top is the only place that you belong. So please leave that like. We ask you to subscribe, click the bell icon for notifications so you never get miss any of that TWitWoW goodness. Comment on the video down below. Talk to us. How are you feeling about the men's Dusty Classic and the women's so far? Where do the likes of Tyler Rust and Bronson Reed go from here? How soon before they're in title pictures? Definitely Reed seems a lot closer to it than Rust at the moment. How do you feel about Escobar's title reign. Do you agree that he's the champion of champions? We'd love to hear from you. And I guess the big question to top off this week's NXT, how do you feel about the prospect of a Thatcher Ciampa tag team? Do you like it? Do you prefer these guys as singles? Share your thoughts with us. We'd love to hear from you. Be sure to check out everything that TWitWoW is involved in down below. From our Twitter handles to our Patreon, TWitWoW Patreon, just to go through that very quickly. We've got Q&A coming up in 8 days, January 28th. Non-Patreon donors only get 3 Q&A questions. Patreon donors, however, of $1 can get up to 5 Q&A questions, so 2 added questions. Again, 3 for non-donors, get up to 5 if you are a Patreon donor, so 2 additional questions. $3 gets you access to the TWitWoW Discord. Not only can you submit your Q&A questions in the Discord, the YouTube, Twitter, Facebook Discord for all the places where you can submit Q&A questions, but it's just a great community to be a part of. And we've started to do Among Us Mondays. We won't be doing that on Monday, the February 1st, because that'll be our post-Rumble Rocket League stream. We'll get to that in a few moments.
Mm-hmm. And it's the first live Raw in a while, too.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, we are doing that a lot more. I've grown to love it. It's definitely become a highlight of my week, and I know for a fact some fans feel the same way. So if you're a fan of Among Us, if you want to be a part of the craze, or if you just like us and you want to be a part of our cozy, tight-knit community, $3 a month gets you in the TWitWoW Discord. As far as our Twitter handles, my pinned tweet is to collect Q&A questions. So you can reply to my pinned tweet, get all your questions in for Q&A. Ashton's pinned tweet, which I am looking at now, is the TWitWoW schedule for the month of January. He swaps out schedules every month. That will always be his pinned tweet, is the TWitWoW schedule for whatever recordings we have that month. Now, I'm going to do something a bit different here, guys. Normally, when I close shows, I like to just take you guys to the rest of the week and then leave it. But I feel a need to go into next week, too, because it is fucking, stacked. So let's round out this week, and then I'll let you guys know what we got coming next week. So for this week, today was the 20th. Tomorrow, Thursday, the 21st at 5, we got the Stardom 10th Anniversary Korakuen Hall show. Live reactions. Cannot wait for that. I think even in spite of all the championship matches, I'm looking forward to Starlight Kid versus Tam Nakano the most. I'm fucking living for Starlight Kid right now. 10 p.m. tomorrow, 10 p.m. Friday the 22nd, will be our SmackDown review as we're barreling towards the Royal Rumble, and we know that we've got KO versus Roman Reigns and Last Man Standing. So again, to round out this week, tomorrow the 21st, 5 p.m., Stardom 10th Anniversary Show live reactions. Friday the 22nd, the day after at 10, SmackDown review. Now, we've got nothing Saturday, Sunday, or Monday of next week. But then Tuesday the 26th at 4 p.m. Eastern Time, we've got a Patreon request from TWitWoW listener Craig Skiff for Vengeance 2003. Should be a really good show. That's Ruthless Aggression era. Good shit. Wednesday, January 27th. 5 p.m. Eastern Time, we've got Stardom New Year's Stars Day 6 afternoon show live reactions. Then at 10, it's going to be our NXT review. We've already run down the NXT card for next week, so you guys know what we're going to be reviewing and talking about. Hopefully we like it. Thursday the 28th, as I just said, Q&A. Q&As are 7 p.m. Eastern Time most times, so that's where we're going to be going live then is 7 p.m. Get your Q&A questions in. I know some people love to live dangerously and submit them close to the wire. Friday the 29th, we've got Stardom New Year's Stars Day 6 evening show live reactions. Again, that's 5 p.m. Friday the 29th. And then 10 p.m. our SmackDown review. And then why I've taken us through all this to begin with, it's Rumble weekend the week after, rounding out this week. So, 8 p.m. on Saturday, Royal Rumble 2021 preview and predictions. Going to predict the men's and the women's. And with the Royal Rumble, we always do like a little mini game here. Who's going to last the longest? Who's going to get the most eliminations? It's definitely things that I've been thinking about lately as we're closer and closer to the Rumble. I'm pretty freaking stoked. And then, obviously, Sunday the 31st, 7 p.m., Royal Rumble 2021 live reactions. Going to give you the whole Rumble experience. It's going to be fucking wild. Who's punching their ticket to WrestleMania?
And pointing at the sign the whole way there, baby.
Point at that pointer fingers fucking ready at that goddamn sign, baby. Then Monday, February 1st, start of my birthday month, so it's the best of all months. It's the post-Royal Rumble Raw Rocket League stream. That will be at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Wednesday at 10, NXT review, February 3rd. And then Friday at 8, our Royal Rumble, post-Royal Rumble, SmackDown Rocket League stream. Whew! So, that was
2
that.
weeks, baby.
Exactly. I only went through that, guys, because it is a shit ton of content, and you should know what's coming. So this is a pretty tranquilo rest of the week. But then next week, it really picks the fuck up. So again, most immediately, just keep this in mind. Tomorrow at 5, we're doing the Stardom 10th Anniversary Show live reactions. We hope you'll join us. Stardom, I think, is not only the best women's wrestling on the planet, but some of the best wrestling, period, on the planet. You won't find a harder working locker room in my mind, especially now that Lucha Underground is not around at the moment. So, yeah, we hope you guys join us. Until then, be good to yourselves and each other. And until then, tune in. Peace out.